What's up everybody, this is Master Ian Gamer. The Overwatch 2 beta has now been out for over 2 weeks, which means it's probably about time that I actually start talking about the Overwatch 2 beta. Yeah, as some of you may have noticed, I haven't really been putting out a ton of videos lately, particularly when it comes to the Overwatch 2 beta, and honestly, that's because there hasn't really been much to say. Don't get me wrong, there are some really exciting things in this beta. The Junker Queen, the new Map Rio, all the hero redesigns, and I will be talking about those in this video, but also today I wanted to focus a bit on the state of the Overwatch 2 beta, and how overall, I think it unfortunately has proven to be just a little bit underwhelming. Real quick first though, before I get into today's video, I wanted to give a special shout out to today's sponsor, Surfshark. Do you think you're safe online without a VPN? Well, I hate to break it to you, buddy, but browsing the internet unprotected is like going into combat without your highly advanced battle mech. It's just a bad idea. Which is why you need Surfshark. Surfshark is a VPN service that protects you and your data from unwanted onlookers by masking your IP address and hiding your activity from pesky hackers, governments, and internet service providers. Surfshark will even alert you if ever your data or passwords are leaked somewhere online, so that you can sleep easy knowing that you and your personal data are 100% safe. But wait, there's more. Did you know that you can watch Marvel movies on Netflix by switching your region to Canada? I didn't! Surfshark makes it easy to watch all your favorite shows and movies on various streaming platforms without ever having to leave your country of origin. Plus, you can run Surfshark on an unlimited number of devices simultaneously, which means there will never be too much content for you to watch. And best of all, you can get 83% off plus 3 months free by either following the link down in the description or scanning the QR code on screen and entering code IAN. That's right, just IAN for 83% off, 3 months free, and a 30-day money-back guarantee. So there's no reason not to try it. Thanks again to Surfshark for sponsoring today's video, and now back to your regularly scheduled Overwatch content. So getting onto the Overwatch 2 beta, I see this version of the beta as having 5 key points of interest, being the Junker Queen, the new Rio map, the hero redesigns, new voice interactions, and broader access, which basically just means more people being able to play it, including people who play on consoles. So starting off with what is by far the most exciting aspect of the beta, the Junker Queen, she's honestly really cool. Maybe even a little too cool, and I'll get onto that in just a second. But for starters, I do think it's worth acknowledging that the Junker Queen as a hero is outright phenomenal. Perhaps I'm a little biased in saying this, given that I'm a tank main and love playing tank heroes in general, but the Junker Queen just feels so good. Her mechanics all come together nice and cleanly to make a well-rounded, coherent kit. Abilities like her magnetic knife are really fun to use and incredibly rewarding when you get really cool kills and interactions with it, and overall, the Junker Queen is just a great hero. But there have been some unfortunate side effects with this edition of the Junker Queen. For one thing, tank queues have been abysmal. And look, I get it. Every time a new hero is added, that category is going to have disproportionately longer queue times because everybody wants to get in and try out the new hero. That just makes sense. But when you look at the state of the Overwatch 2 beta overall and how the Junker Queen fits into that, there was already a lot of demand for playing the tank role. Not only is it the only category which has 1 representative per team as opposed to 2, but there's a bunch of enticing aspects of the tank role currently, such as the reworks for Doomfist and Orisa, and all the other changes which tank heroes have been getting. So even without the addition of an awesome brand new hero to that category, there's already a lot of reasons why people are wanting to play tank, and when you add the Junker Queen on top of that, well, I think it starts to become a bit of a problem. Now, I'm not saying that they shouldn't have added the Junker Queen, of course not. I am so glad we got to play this hero at long last, but I really wish Blizzard had given a bit more of a balanced consideration to the other roles as well, especially the support role. Adding the Junker Queen as a tank hero is all well and good, but they should have given something more substantial to the support heroes than what they have, which is basically nothing. Sure, we got the interesting changes for Moira and Mercy just recently, but the fact that you know, those came 2 weeks into a 3-week beta isn't the best way to handle it if you ask me. But really, I think Blizzard sort of dropped the ball in this regard when they focused way too much on the tank category and not enough on the other categories as well. Damage heroes I think are fine because they're damage heroes. They're always fine, essentially. But the support category in particular, I really wish Blizzard had pushed harder to give some interesting, significant changes to this category overall that would help balance out people's interest in playing the different roles. I don't think this would have completely alleviated the extreme queue times for the tank role, but it certainly would have at least helped. But shifting focus specifically onto the tank role in particular, I think another sort of issue? I'm hesitant to call it an issue outright, but another thing I've noticed, I guess you could say, when it comes to the addition of the Junker Queen is that she kind of just dominates all the other tanks. Now, maybe my matchmaking just hasn't been that good, or I don't know, maybe the Junker Queen is just exceptionally overpowered, but it feels like the Junker Queen is just better at tanking than most other tanks. More than a few times so far, I've been in a match where I'm playing Winston or Roadhog or Zarya or someone, and you know, it's just not really working out. Our team isn't doing too hot, so I'm like, all right, I'll just swap to Junker Queen. Swap to Junker Queen, instantly the match flips around. It's happened enough times to me at this point that I don't think it's just a coincidence. Junker Queen, I think, is a little overtuned at the moment. Her kit in and of itself, I think, is phenomenal, but something about her sustain, the fact that she never dies, just makes her feel so unbelievably strong. And what's more is that, for whatever reason, she feels exceptionally strong against other tank heroes. If you're playing Junker Queen and you're going up against an enemy Doomfist, puh, you can dunk on him so hard he might as well not even exist. In fact, I've honestly noticed quite a few imbalances in the tank category overall. Pretty consistently since the start of the second Overwatch 2 beta, I've been finding extreme success while playing Junker Queen and Wrecking Ball specifically, whereas other heroes, namely characters like Doomfist, Orisa, and Reinhardt, just feel like they can't compete. If you're playing any of those 3 heroes and the enemy team has a Junker Queen, you basically lose, in my experience. Now, I will admit, this could entirely just be my personal experience. Maybe you've found something completely different to be the case while playing, and if that's the case, then cool. That just means things aren't as imbalanced as they seem. But perhaps more than ever, and especially in contrast to the first Overwatch 2 beta, it feels like the specific tank hero you pick has a huge impact on whether you win or lose, which of course makes me fairly concerned when it comes to the balance of the category overall. Moving on from the Junker Queen though, next up we have the new Rio map. This map is visually beautiful. Unfortunately, I've only gotten a chance to play on it a handful of times since, you know, you never get the cool new maps, of course, for whatever reason, but the few matches I have gotten to play on it have been pretty fun. One thing I've noticed though is that I think I've only played one single Rio match where either team ended up making it to the end of the map. Usually it seems the attackers get stopped right around that first checkpoint of the payload route, and I think only maybe once or twice I've actually seen it progress beyond that. I don't know what that says necessarily in terms of the map's balance aspects. Certainly it seems to indicate that maybe the defenders are a little favored on this map, but I don't know. Again, it could just be a personal experience of mine and maybe you've seen the opposite. I don't know. But aside from that, I think Rio is honestly just a solid new map. The issue though is that it's the only new map we got in the beta, and at this point we already know that Overwatch 2 is going to be launching with only 6 new maps, so yeah, overall that's kind of disappointing, but hey, for what it is, I think it's just fine. There's some great music throughout the map, there's some great visuals all across it, so yeah, cool new map. Moving on from the 2 core content additions though, next up let's take a look at the hero redesigns. Now, these of course have been something that people have been excited to see for quite a while at this point. Ever since BlizzCon 2019, we've known that every hero was going to be getting a new design for Overwatch 2, and lo and behold, we finally actually have them, and honestly they're a mixed bag. Some of them I really like, others I think are just blander versions of their original designs, but at the end of the day, what it really comes down to is every hero, except for the new heroes and Echo for whatever reason, just got a new skin. Some of them are good, some of them aren't so good. New skins basically are just new skins. They're definitely nice additions to the game and help to make it stand out just a bit more as a separate game from the original Overwatch, but at the end of the day, they're just cosmetics, so not too much to really get hyped about there, but I am glad that Blizzard has finally added them. And similar to these Overwatch 2 hero redesigns, we have the new voice interactions which can play between different heroes throughout the different maps. Now, interestingly enough, I feel like these have been the thing I see people talk about the most when it comes to people online discussing this Overwatch 2 beta, and I'm sure a large part of this is that for the first couple weeks of the beta, unfortunately there were a lot of people who weren't able to actually get access to it, and thus their only way of really experiencing the Overwatch 2 beta was through seeing funny little clips people posted of heroes interacting with each other, but overall these are a nice addition to the game. Quite a few of them reveal some story implications and hint at character development for various heroes, and overall they definitely add a nice flavor to the world itself. It's fun hearing about all these different elements of the different characters that we hadn't heard of before, like everyone's favorite animal, or how the different Talon members interact with each other. A lot of cool little tidbits here, but unfortunately at the end of the day, there just really isn't that much to do with these interactions. If you're very invested in the characters and the story side of Overwatch, then these are phenomenal, I won't deny that, but unfortunately they just don't add anything to the gameplay aspect of Overwatch 2. And thus, I almost feel like these new interactions, and the Overwatch 2 hero redesigns to an extent, were sort of added in this beta specifically as a way to distract from the fact that there wasn't actually that much gameplay content added. One new hero and one new map are great in their own right, but we're talking about a beta for an upcoming sequel. This is Overwatch 2. People expect big things to happen with the sequel, and when we're only getting meager little content editions like this, where at the end of the day you get one new hero to play, one new map to play, and then just fun visuals and audio things to sort of get excited about on social media, I think it unfortunately doesn't add up to much. And I think this is why ultimately I've seen people get so much less excited for this Overwatch 2 beta than they did for the first one. The first new beta had 4 new maps and a new hero on top of a ton of exciting reworks and hero balance changes. By comparison, the second beta just added the same but less, essentially. We got another new hero, Junker Queen, and 1 new map instead of 4 new maps, and then a bunch of other sort of cool little cosmetic-esque stuff as well. Yeah, these are exciting, but like, it kind of feels like the same thing we already saw, but to a lesser extent. So in a sense, it seems like Blizzard already sort of blew their load with the Overwatch 2 beta in the first beta, which honestly was probably the best way to do it, which means that this beta now is just sort of a, oh, we can play it again, and there's a little bit more. Yay. However, I do want to acknowledge still the 5th and final point of interest with this second Overwatch 2 beta, which is the broader access. Now, this is, I think, where most people are probably going to disagree with my overall stance of the second Overwatch 2 beta being fairly underwhelming, in that for a lot of people, this is their first experience actually getting to play the Overwatch 2 beta. For those of you who play on console, or for whatever reason just didn't manage to get access when playing on PC to the first beta, this is your chance to actually get to play it and basically experience all the wonders of both betas 1 and 2. And I totally get that. This is exciting for a lot of people in their own right because it's their first experience actually being able to jump in and play Sojourn, the Junker Queen, Rio, Midtown, all the new stuff. And so I certainly don't want to detract from that aspect because, yeah, I do think that's a very important thing to acknowledge. Getting more people into the actual beta so they can actually experience it for themselves is really important. But again, I think there were some caveats to this. Particularly the way Blizzard has been rolling out access for the Overwatch 2 beta, I think has really taken the wind out of a lot of people's sails. Launching the beta on June 28th and making a big hype about all the new content and everything, all these cool things coming in the Overwatch 2 beta, but only letting a select number of people actually have access to it, a significant portion of which are people who had to spend real-world money to get the Watchpoint pack in order to actually get access on that day, has sort of just dampened the entire experience. Even if you did end up getting access on the 5th or on the 14th, if you had to wait that long, unfortunately, it kind of feels like the big hype surrounding the beta died down really, really quickly. Again, look at my channel specifically. I basically didn't do anything other than live stream and talk about some of the minor balance changes that came across during the beta, because it just didn't really feel like there was much to say. We already got a lot of information about the Junker Queen prior to the beta actually starting, so doing a dedicated video outlining her abilities and whatnot just sort of felt unnecessary by the time it was live. And seeing as how I'd already shared much of my thoughts about the hero and the beta in general during the live streams I did, it just didn't really feel necessary to do a dedicated video like this. But seeing as how things have been going for this current beta, and how, well, unexciting it overall I think ended up being, that was what sort of prompted me to do this video, because if there's one thing I want to focus on and emphasize very clearly to close out this video in particular, it's that Blizzard really needs to reevaluate how they're going to be generating hype for the third beta and or the eventual release of Overwatch 2. Because if they just do the same thing for the release of the game that they did for this second beta, I can't help but feel like it's going to be a bit of a flop. I'm not sure even exactly what particularly the issue is. I don't know if it's just the slow rollout of access, the meager addition of new content with the second beta, or just the fact that overall there's been this sort of sour taste regarding Overwatch 2 lately when it comes to weird balance decisions and terrible queue times and really expensive access to the beta. Yeah, a lot of different things. But I just feel like Overwatch 2 hasn't been getting the hype and attention that it feels like it should be getting. This is definitely something I'm interested in hearing your all's thoughts on, because I don't know, maybe I'm a bit of an outlier here where I just haven't felt super excited and thrilled about this latest beta. Again, Junker Queen is phenomenal. I've been having so much fun playing her. Rio seems really cool, and I like the other sort of visual and audio cosmetic additions, but by and large, I just haven't had that same level of thrill and excitement for this beta that I had for the first one. Hopefully Blizzard will be able to pick things up again by the time of the next beta or the game's eventual release, but as it stands now, it really feels like the build-up to this game has started to just sort of peter along. I don't know if there's much more I really can say about it at this point, but I would definitely love to hear your thoughts on all this in the comments down below. What has your experience been playing the Overwatch 2 beta thus far? Is this the first time you've gotten access to it? And if so, how do you feel about the amount of gameplay content and other features we've gotten with it? Regardless though, thank you all so much for watching, and thank you to Surfshark for sponsoring this video. Be sure to check out the link down in the description for a very special offer, and otherwise be sure to subscribe, follow me on Twitter, hit up that bell icon, and come join my Discord server to hang out and never miss any of my future Overwatch content. Special thanks to my YouTube channel members who help make these videos possible, and if you'd like to join them to earn some cool rewards, then just hit that join button down below. Otherwise, this is Master Ian Gamer signing off, and until next time, have a great day.